for. So the winner of this series has already been decided, but this map is still important to Hangzhou and to us as people who are interested in how they bounce back.
The Spark are going to play close up with this composition. When you have Reinhardt on defense here, you want to play on that first corner. You want to try and get maybe like 3 fights here. It'll be interesting what London does. Do they come out of the spawn, see this, swap some DPS? That's when you probably see the Spark speed boost all the way back. They're going to give up a ton of space otherwise, though. So see how London plays into this. If they did some watching of the Houston match, this is exactly how the Spark started off that match.
And it paid off.
Yes.
Looked good to them. So again, No Smite holds the corner. You can actually see around that corner even if Reinhardt's head is not around the corner, just because the camera, zooms out behind you when your shield is up. It's quite helpful. Godsby, again, just wants to poke a little bit. It's unlikely the Spark commit to a fight until the Spitfire are pushed appreciably away from the spawn. So here's something that the wrinkly big brains of the Outlaws didn't really go for, this high ground rotation from the Spitfire. I like it. I actually really do like it. It forced Hangzhou away immediately.
I mean, it's forced them all the way back to their staircase to go up. I think you just send one person down to move the cart. You just put Fury down there as D.Va. He can fly right back up. Get up here if the next team fight happens. And I do think on some maps where we talk about how defense, you can come out with a Winston first here. On Dorado, if you did come out with Winston, I think you still see the threat of 4 DPS comps, as No Smite goes pretty deep.
Oh, just to know he's caught. Yeah. Just that extra swing, dropping the shield, taking the damage. And you saw he was separate from the rest of the Spitfire. Spitfire were already out. Gesture fancied one more bite at the apple, as it were. And it was full of worms. Hate to see it.
Just lobbing these alternate fires at range here for Zarya from the high ground. Able to get so much damage, especially in this meta when they're all clumped up together. A lot of the teams. So it'll be a grab early here from Prophet. Trying to catch players off top. They do use Transcendence here.
He may not have known as well for sure that Bebe had Transcendence or not. He's probably happy enough to exchange those ultimates. It was a fairly early charge for Prophet. You can see Godspeed is still 87%.
They got the cart through the choke here.
No, I mean, it held them in place while the rest of the Spitfire moved up. Godspeed, though, is probably waiting for the Spitfire to converge enough in one spot for him to use his own Graviton Surge. And he'd be looking to win the fight there and then, but you can't see it, but Fury's on the right of Godspeed right now. So Fury's keeping tabs on Godspeed, and he's going to try and eat that Graviton if he possibly can. He actually went around the backside, but he was watching.
The teams have swapped sides here. London is still on offense, playing from the defensive side. They rotate all the way around.
This is only bad for the Spark if London sort of gets onto the payload. Gesture tried to go for a shatter. He is silenced very rapidly, but No Smite's taking a bunch of damage. The Spitfire don't find any kills during the duration of that Transcendence. That's why this might get a little bit nasty for them. That was an attempt, I think, from No Smite to knock Gesture's shield out of the way of that self-destruct. It doesn't connect, but still the Spark come up with the results. IDK sound barrier committed right at the end of the fight.
A minute and 20 left here. You do have Prophet's grab coming online. We'll see what route they decide to take. I know they used the grab the last time, and they end up forcing out Transcendence, but there's no follow-up. I mean, it's up on the high ground. It allows them to get some kind of cart progress, but that progress really isn't great now because look where the payload's going. It's all the way back through the choke. So we'll see if they try and maybe like a speed boost through the choke. They get speed boost underneath where the Spark are playing right now and go up the stairs behind them.
I mean, if they can force someone from the Spark to drop down early, or get them isolated, that would be perfect. But you notice that the Spark preemptively dropped down just to make sure they're all on the same page. But that's the speed boost you were talking about. So they rush through the choke, but now the Spark have their own speed boost. They're trying to catch the Spitfire on the wrong foot. Self-destruct goes up here. Let's see how Gesture sets this up. That's pretty good. He knocks in a No Smite. Gesture sets up a perfect 2K for Fury's self-destruct. And that'll be the Spitfire now. Again, 6-4 in players as this team fight continues. The Spark actually end up committing the rally to the fight because there's only 22 seconds left. If there's some chance that they could have stopped the Spitfire there, it would have probably meant a map win for them.
See if the Spark try and get one more fight out of this. We saw them come back and fight it the other day against the Outlaws. As here's going to be Gesture. The pin there gets them out.
That actually requires some precision as the Reinhardt charging into the Graviton, because the way that you clip, as in like the way that you sort of interact with the edges of other characters, you obviously only want to hit the enemy Reinhardt, but like we saw before, No Smite missed Gesture, knocked the wrong person out of the grab, so the shield was still there for London to protect against the self-destruct. I digress though, as Bebe just got absolutely knocked on his rear end. And again, just the setup there with Gesture Shatter is going to give London a great start.
And those fights are the toughest to lose if you're the Spark, because they only invest one ultimate, You drop right away, you don't even really have a chance to use like your grab that's allowing the other team to build up some of their support ultimates again. The Graviton Surge are not that impactful then, because you're going to have to get some kind of combination between the No Smite and then the Rhea self-destruct plus the Graviton Surge here, which you end up dumping some of those ultimates in. London can save, they can come back in that next fight and take it.
So it's most likely that it's a Graviton Surge plus self-destruct. No, maybe No Smite doesn't need to commit his Earth Shatter to set up that combo. So here it is. No Smite needs the charge gesture out of this one. Gets him there, nicely done. Good connection from No Smite, removes gesture, and then gesture and Nuss fall as a result. Doesn't commit his Earth Shatter like we predicted, and that means the Spark now have a different combo to play the next defensive fight.
And with gesture stuck in the Graviton Surge, you're like, well, what could he possibly do in that situation? And without Shatter up to like counter Shatter when the charge comes through, there's really nothing. I mean, if he had Earth Shatter, he could shatter down no Smite, and then he could put his shield back up. But in that type of scenario, there's nothing. You see Spark getting quite aggressive. They don't want to keep giving up this space. And they're allowing, Godspeed to build up towards another Graviton Surge, already at 60+%.
IDK does not want to get hit by that white click from Prophet. And there's a Graviton quickly committed to the fight now. Earth Shatter. That one came out from No Smite to try and stop the Spitfire. And it kind of worked. Well, Gesture wasn't able to knock him out of the way. So the Spark survived that barrage of ultimates. Not to be confused with the barrage from Thorough, who is just not going to survive long in this particular setup. Rhea down to half. No Smite. Oh, No Smite. His shield's breaking as well. He has to back up. Look at that hasty bubble given a No Smite now. He does get quickly healed back up. Repair pack thrown in there. No Smite again. Low! He's taken down. The Graviton Surge committed to no avail by the Spark. And this is definitely going to propel the Spitfire forward. Bidoshin goes down. Nuss caught out by Bebe here. Maybe a turn. 4v5. Spitfire with a disadvantage, but the grab turns it around at just the right time. Prophet. Young Money coming up with the goods just when it's required. And in overtime, the Spitfire will get to the power plant and the last phase of this attack.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit there when Prophet's standing on the cart and Rhea's self-destruct is right there. He times his own personal bubble perfectly. He gets all that damage. And then as like he's kind of launched into the sky from the effect, then that's when he throws down the Graviton Surge and he just launches one alternate fire right into it. Puts down some extra damage. As a self-destruct, you can get a ton of charge on this Zarya.
I mean, it causes a swing in the fight. Even if you're at a player disadvantage, you can very quickly fix that or even get a player advantage, which is pretty much the name of the game right now.
And it's got to be frustrating for the Spark with how this series has gone. 2 times be so close to holding London. Having London just take it to him. As guard does drop down here early, so you lose No Smite in the main tank as London's going to invest into this. They're going to sound barrier. It's going to force Transcendence out here from the Spark as London backs up a little bit. The gesture gets a little bit too low to re-engage.
It's definitely a questionable investment. I think they're at the point now where they have one more fight left.
Yeah.
It's possible that, Fury doesn't try and self-destruct there if he didn't know that Garb was about to get run over. That all kind of happened at the same time. But then after that, the Spitfire did commit ultimates willingly into a fight that they're already at a distinct disadvantage. So that later part of the fight was questionable, and it leaves it now with one more opportunity to get things done. Both Zaryas should have the Graviton Surges online. A D.Va eating one of those up here would be huge for the team that's able to negate the grab from the other side. See, Fury's looking for it here. Both teams going for the rally. Big knockback on No Smite. He's put out of position pretty heavily, and that shield is very low. Rhea just trying to chunk down Gesture and make it a little bit harder for him to move forward with any form of confidence. Self-destruct there for Rhea, but if he gets rid of his mech, he can't eat the Graviton Surge. That was a grab from Godspeed. Rhea's going to set this one up now with a self-destruct in and gets Prophet. That's a good one. Prophet had the grab from London, a key ultimate taken away from the Spitfire. And then Gesture gets run over. Bidoshin's sitting in the back again, just trying to do his bit for his team, but he's pushed off the payload. And it's an emergency landing for the Spitfire. Still 3-0 in maps, and London are still pleased with this result. They can still win the 4th as well. We'll see if they can get the sweep in just a moment. Don't go too far. back. The man on your screen, No Smite, setting up a lot of those key combos alongside Rhea. Getting those Graviton Surge, Self-Destruct, Reinhardt Charge combos. Again, a lot of moving parts in some of these win conditions for these teams. And you can see a difference between a team, Matt, who knows how to set them up to get the most out of that bomb, and those that kind of just miss the mark.
It's a nice shatter at the end from No Smite. So yeah, this is exactly what it's going to talk about. As C just charges behind. The Earth Shatter knocks a few players up in the sky. It's kind of one in favor of the Spark, but that's really like the exclamation point on it. Puts it away in their favor. Let's see if they can get a map win here, though. Be big for them in terms of their overall standing in the league right now.
Hangzhou look toothless on the attack.
Early pick.
But they find an opening here in Burton. Yeah, that's going to leave the Spitfire unhappy.
And that's what I kind of talked about with on defense. Like, sometimes you may not go with Winston on defense here on Dorado because there's no static shield. Teams will be in the spawn and they'll run like a Hangzhou Mercy Widowmaker and they'll damage boost the Widowmaker. Hangzhou just fires out a Sonic Arrow. You can see if anybody's behind the wall. Now, Bedosian, maybe he is. He's loading up some orbs to throw out, and then you get an easy headshot there, and then you switch right off.
Just to knock back as well. You can see the Spark are trying to overrun the Spitfire there just by using the speed boost. But Nuss and Ko are ready to fire back. Like the Rhea, just a little bit of damage, has to get the repair pack given.
It's crazy to see like how much one kill just buys so much space here for the Spark. Just remember how long it took London to get to this point. And the Spark just on the back of that one Widowmaker pick may be able to take point A just because of it.
Yeah, No Smite going down. I think the Spark sort of run out of gas at this point. Yes, it's good that they pick up guard, but the value of a Brigitte as opposed to Orion, it's not comparable when you're trying to outright win a team fight there. You saw that it was a positional issue for guard. It wasn't necessarily that he was in the wrong spot. It's that a quick burst of speed from IDK that Hangzhou quickly turned a situation that seems safe for London players into one where, oh God, I'm surrounded.
So now Prophet gonna get close to the grab. He'll be able to get this before Gonsby gets his down. And the big thing is
ooh, just before No Smite gets there.
How wild is it that Bedosian gets taken out first, right? He gets shot by the Widowmaker, he falls early, and he ends up with his Transcendence before Bebe on the other side.
I mean, he's on that salty run back, fam. He's out here to prove a point. And that was just a similar situation of Bebe just not being behind the Reinhardt shield. And like, you don't always think about this, even at this level. You know, they're like, okay, we need to get on the high ground. Hangzhou aren't thinking, oh, if No Smite isn't exactly 0.25 meters ahead, our Zenyatta will die. Here's a speed boost. I wonder if Hangzhou want to fight. The answer is yeah, probably. And great disengage from the Spitfire. Not only was it a Brigitte rally committed to that engagement attempt, but also the speed boost. Now the Spitfire have a chance to fire back. Graviton Surge coming in, not easy, so that one is going to stick. Both teams go for the grab, and a self-destruct dropped in by Rhea. Great setup once again. Gesture falling foul of that one. No Smite, big earth shattered. And you see Prophet and Guard, they're sleeping on the job. Fury only just got back into his mech, and it's going to be a short-lived one with Guard falling. It's a matter now of stalling out a little bit here for London. Hangzhou, one way or another, are going to take this first checkpoint.
Now when No Smite uses the Earth Shatter, prevents Gesture from any type of combination. He has his Earth Shatter as well, and now with Fury's mech up in the sky, No Smite puts his shield up, Ryan, you land that Earth Shatter, then everybody goes kaboom for the Spark as No Smite uses the Shatter first, knocks him down, not able to combo it. How do you get a use of it here if you're the London Spitfire? Is that now? Yeah, they were on the high ground. They're going to drop to the low down. They're going to play on the cart.
Godsby would like to play on this high ground. Not only, if the Spitfire drop down and leave their supports up on the high ground, Godsby can then chase after them by walking on that ledge. Whoever thought Zaya? Such good balance. 70, well, look at how quickly that ultimate is charging up now. 86 for Godsby and 80 charge to boot. That had to be a big Earth Shatter from Gesture, but it kind of falls flat. So did Bebe, to be fair, but he was the only player to really suffer the incapacitation from Earth Shatter, and Prophet gets overrun once again. Hangzhou Spark making great use of speed boost to quickly out-position and outmaneuver the Spitfire. And now the payload will roll on. Remember, 2 checkpoints and 55 meters is where London got to. So really, we're over halfway there for the Spark.
And Prophet was just not able to build up any type of energy there to put down some damage on Zarya. We're on with Godsby sitting at above like 80% For the match, God's Beast in at 65% average energy on this map to 56 from Prophet.
Yeah, we were watching him. He's got all this charge, 80 charge. Godsby now wants to work up again. Obviously, the number under his aiming reticle is his charge in percentage, I guess. Goes up to 100. Graviton Surge comes in. Transcendence.
This could be big.
Strike thrown in over the top. The setup is beautiful once again. Just one kill is enough for the Spark here, especially after No Smite killed guard on the pin. Beautiful setup. Hangzhou, again, come to their senses just so late in the day. The Spitfire took them by surprise, and both these teams are going to be 2-2 after this.
And the timing with the pin is perfect. Like, you don't want to do it too early. Pin gesture into the wall. He's still getting some heals, then put the shield back up. He just waits for the last possible moment to use the pin.
It's not easy as well because there is some charge up, like there is some startup delay on the ability of the pin. So, you're not charging at full speed as soon as you hit the key. You need to time it a little bit. Gestic caught a bit of damage, but was shielded up very quickly. And Adora, yeah, that's what we saw actually happen previously to Guard. It was overrunning pretty much the same spot. So the Spitfire barrel around the corner and bundle the Spark out.
Prophet's been holding on this grab for a while, but he's really haven't had a great opportunity to use it. It's allowed Godspeed to get basically 2. So you do have the grab and the shatter combo for the Spark. You don't have a self-destruct to go with it. You have all the combos here for London. This guard gets caught off guard there, playing a little bit too forward, a shatter. You don't even have to use the grab, that's huge.
This is terrible for the Spitfire.
Yeah,
the payload is so close. They haven't not once been able to set up their combo the way they would have liked to. Hangzhou Spark has beaten them to the punch every single time. And it looks like this one was thrown for a knockout. Guard going to appear. He actually did pile drive onto the payload, but it was a very small distance that he dropped down. Nastia just disintegrates inside that Graviton. Oh, a little bit awkward. He's rather late to the party. Not fashionably late, like that really awkwardly late. Like everyone's already gone to bed and you arrive and say, what's going on? Yeah, that kind. 3-1. So the Spitfire do take away the W in this series, and these two teams are mirror images of one another. The Spitfire 0-2 in week 1, now 2-2. The Spark start off so well. Very sloppy week 2, or just a tough one in general. The fact of the matter is, both of these guys now even on win-loss.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the way the Spark series went earlier in the week against the Outlaws. They lose the first 3, they come on strong, and they win the last one. It's got to be much better in the early parts of these series here for the Spark. You can't rack up some losses early in the season.
Now, out of Godsby's 35 eliminations on that map, 32 of those occurred at high Zarya charge, which is not a huge surprise considering what we saw from him. We watched him, we saw him do the work. And again, London never had a fight on defense that they really could set up properly, but they're happy enough with the win. We'll be back with some more insights from this match in just a moment.